Kevin Lee has had a rotten year, and I'm not talking about his performances in the cage. I really had no problem with the way he's performed, whether it was with Barboza or you want to go back to Tony Ferguson or slip Ally Quinn in there, or even tonight with Gillespie. Those are tough guys. Those are some hammers right there. You're going to get some mixed reviews. That's what the competitors do. When I say he had a rough year, he's never uses it as an excuse. But he was at Extreme Couture, which is located in Las Vegas, Nevada. His mentor and head coach, not just his head coach, his mentor in life dies. Tough spot. What do you do? So you try to rebuild, what do you do? So he finds Coach Frost. He goes not only out of Nevada, he leaves the country. He goes to Toronto and starts training at a new gym. Now, historically, it takes guys a little bit of time. It takes them a little bit to adjust to a new system, their new surroundings, their new workout partners. Kevin Lee never talked about anything. He changed weight classes. He was going to go to 170, then he goes back to 155. Then he takes a fight with Gregor Gillespie, which, not for nothing, didn't make much sense for Kevin Lee. Gregor Gillespie is a straight-up killer. He had never lost. He was an undefeated national wrestling champion. I mean, you go on and on about Gregor, but I've had many private conversations with people that'll pull me aside and go, hey, Chael, who do you think is the guy that will do best with Khabib? And I go, well, actually, there's a guy named Gregor Gillespie, and a lot of you aren't familiar with him, but he's undefeated. He's a masterful wrestler. He's got a great pace. He's a great competitor. I mean, Gillespie's that good. There's a reason he was undefeated. But a lot of people didn't know him. Now you talk about Kevin Lee, who doesn't fight anything but main events, a co-main event on a rare occasion, world title fights, and all of a sudden he's going to go take on a killer in New York, which, oh, by the way, happens to be his opponent's backyard, while training in a different camp, while fluctuating between 155 and 170. And look, this was a tough spot. Great opportunity for Gregor, and that's the way this sport goes. But it was a tough spot for Kevin. Kevin walked out, sold out arena, took care of business. The fight itself was a little bit of a surprise. Okay, so as much as I can brag about Gregor Gillespie's wrestling pedigree and credentials, I could also talk about Kevin Lee's. While Gregor was a national champion, Kevin Lee was second in the nation for wrestling. These guys didn't wrestle a bit. I think that might have been a big mistake by Gregor. Now, would have the wrestling worked? We'd only be left to speculate. But should have he attempted it? Should have he got that pace going? Should he get the heart rate up? That's where Gregor does some of his best work. Something about the range, something about Kevin Lee's offense, something about his stance made Gregor decide not to do that. All of a sudden, these guys are standing up and trading. Kevin Lee's starting to find his way, starting to land stiff jabs. Gregor's throwing back. Gregor's doing just fine. But Kevin Lee is starting to get the jump on him a little bit. Boom. Jab down the middle, followed by a kick to the same side. One of the reasons that technique is so good, and I know what you guys are thinking, Chael, a jab? That's not much of a setup, followed by a kick. I mean, that's kind of basic. I agree with you. But when the jab and the kick come from the same side, the jab will blind you. It literally goes right here, blocks your eyes. So when that kick is coming, you just don't see it coming. It's something that Carlos Condit used to do. So Carlos Condit would do this every single fight, and he'd roll with it. He had a rolling. But it's a technique that when it's executed, it's very, very hard to stay awake. Gregor Gillespie's response to Kevin Lee's attack was normal, to fall down. But it was a great win for Kevin. I think he deserves credit. I expect that Gregor is going to come back just fine. He's a competitor. Big show experience for him. Gregor needed a little bit of that. But this is the sport. There's ups and there's downs. Tonight, Kevin's night.
He's been running these streets for years, and he's still here, and so is fear. Undisputed, never lost a round. Bodies hit the ground when the bad guy comes to town. American gangster, this man will put a hurt on you. You'll be crying for your mama by the time he's through. You better believe